Hello, my name is Shad Thompson, and I'm going to share my story with you about an amazing group of nutrigenomic products. I'm not going to name them by name, but I'll lay out my story. I am 47 today. When I was 14, I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. In the beginning, it wasn't that big a deal. It didn't seem to bother me too much, but as time wore on, through college, and then afterwards, it got pretty bad. I'm the oldest son, and anyway, I'm a pretty good rule follower in most cases. So I did everything the doctors told me. I was on a regimen of various pharmaceuticals, trying to deal with my condition. My normal day was basically having to use the restroom 15 times a day, several times before I left the house to go to work, once or twice on the way to work, a few times there. Sometimes I had to stop on the way home, and then in the evening, and sometimes during the middle of the night it would wake me up. Anyway, eventually I got kind of used to it, and so did my friends and family, unfortunately. So anyway, in the summer of 2010, I was voluntold to go to India to train some mentees to be their mentor and how our company worked. And I left with ulcerative colitis and came back, and there shortly later was diagnosed with high blood pressure, late adult onset asthma, as well as allergies coming back that I hadn't had since I was a kid. So it was, instead of dealing with one illness or condition, I had four. So I at that point kind of figured out that, listen, that these doctors are just practicing. I was like, I'm going to start being my own advocate, start doing my own research. And so I did. So I started looking at other options. I tried homeopathic doctors, nature doctors, whatever you'd like to call them. That helped a little bit. Exercise and diet helped a little bit, but nothing truly relieved me from my symptoms, so I never was able to get off of my the medications I was on, which were pretty pricey. Between my colitis medication, it was $900 every 90 days with insurance, and my Symbicort inhaler was another $300 every 90 days. So I was slowly bankrupting my family with my health conditions. So I tried a couple of non-conventional options like essential oils. Did not have any results there. Smelled great, but had no alleviation of any of my symptoms whatsoever. Maybe some people do. I didn't, and nobody in my family did. Then I tried Plexus, same result. And I tried these for a significant period of time, 6 months on Plexus, and then 18 months on the oils. And I was actually toying out the idea of having an experimental procedure done in Tijuana, and a neighbor walked across the street and handed me a bottle of an nrf2 activator, an all-natural one, and low yield pill, per se, or that's what we call it too. Anyway, so she said, please try this for at least 6 months before you go off to Tijuana, because I shared all my story with her. And so I did. So I was started on this product in May, early May of 2016, and went through the first bottle. Hadn't noticed anything. We were super busy. I have a side computer job. I have a main job at a telecommunications company in the Kansas City area, who shall go unnamed. And anyway, I just was very busy. So I was at church on basically middle of June, maybe late June, I don't remember now exactly, worship service. And I had the urge to use the restroom. This had happened before. It was about 9:45 in the morning. And we don't have pews at our church, so I looked left, I looked right to see how many toes I was going to step on the way out, or coffees I was going to spill, or whatever. And I experienced, Shad, just chill, just wait. And so I was like, oh, okay. I mean, the worst that was going to happen, I was going to have to go home, take a shower, just be blunt. And anyway, and the feeling passed. For most people, that's not that big a deal. For somebody that hadn't been able to have that type of bowel control in 30 years, that was significant for me. I noticed that was my first aha moment. So I went back to worshiping or singing, and then listened to the sermon, picked my kids up from their classrooms, and went home. My wife at the time worked at our church and had to stay, so I was a single parent that afternoon. And so I went home, got them fed, got them to their places, wherever they were going to hang out and do whatever for the next hour or so. And I started working on things around the house, laundry, dishes, whatever. And at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I do remember this vividly. I was walking through the kitchen at the load of whites, and it hit me like a lightning bolt that at like 9:45, I'd had to use the restroom. And it was now 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and I've not gone since. So I sat down at the kitchen table and I prayed. I don't know how long. And I was like, Lord, in all my business and like everybody else says, what else have I missed with this? And let me back up a minute. So anyway, I'm an engineer by trade, so I am a researcher. I am a studier, and I've taken this whole journey on this nrf2 activator on faith. Honestly, completely backwards what I've normally would do research-wise. And I started this journey on 2 blood pressure medications, my colitis medication, my inhaler, my allergy medication, 20 supplements, and about 8 oils a day I was taking. And so when I added this, I didn't want to change anything else, because in troubleshooting, if you change more than one thing at a time, then what fixed the problem? So anyway, now fast forward back to my kitchen table. And so the only thing I had added was the Proteanum. So I'm sitting there praying, and I was like, Lord, what else has changed that I have missed in my busyness? And I was sleeping better, a lot better. I'd only used the restroom twice that day, which was, like I said, significant compared to the 15, which was average. And if I was sick or whatever, it would even be more than that. I was not sore in the morning like I always used to be. Didn't have the achy breakies. Some people call them Rice Krispie Pops, whatever you call them. When you get up in the morning, everything's popping and cracking and sore. Didn't have that anymore. And I noticed I had a lot more stamina. I'd helped a friend work on building a deck the weekend before, and at the time I was in my mid-40s, and there's these early 30-year-olds that I'm just working circles around, and I'm like, come on guys, let's get back to it. What's going on? Why are we taking all these breaks? Let's get this done. And so I just wasn't sore after things I used to be just completely sore from. So anyway, at that point I started doing my research, kind of backwards for an engineer, but it is my story, so I'm going to stick with it. And anyway, I found all this research, clinical research on this product on the U.S. government. The National Institute of Health is a U.S. government-backed run website for medical research, medical device research, pharmaceuticals, whatever. And there's 24 studies. Well, now there are 23 at the time on this. Well-acclaimed website that doctors and researchers use all the time. And, my doctor never said anything to me about the, oxidative stress, and that led to a variety of illnesses, over 500 and counting. Pretty much oxidative stress is the foundation of all non-infectious diseases in the body. And I was just blown away. I hopped on YouTube and watched some people's stories on there. Just did normal Google searches, but that was after I looked at the research and watched an ABC Primetime investigative report with a positive outcome for a change. And I was just blown away. Anyway, today I am doing great. I am on a nrf1, nrf2 activator, a probiotic that this company makes that is second to none. I had spent 30 years taking different probiotics that were all just junk. Now that I've educated myself on probiotics, a high proportion of them are just junk. Anything in the liquid, capsule, they're terrible. They just don't make it through the stomach acids to get the good stuff to where they need it to get it to. And then I'm also on a company's mega product, and I'm taking their brain nutraceutical product or an energy drink for the mind that is absolutely amazing. So I feel better now that I did in my 20s. I also used to suffer from 6 to 7 sinus infections a year, bad ones. I was always sick, it felt like. And the doctors had actually told me before all this started that I was not going to live with all my ailments after I got back from India, that I was not going to have a long life, that I was going to be lucky to live past my early 60s. And that scared me. That gave me a really good reason to find a solution because I want to see my grandkids. So, anyway, that is my story. I'm sure I've left things out. Feel free to reach out to me on Facebook Messenger if you have questions. I would be happy to chat. Take care. God bless.